Welcome to week 5, everyone. I can't believe we are more than halfway through developmental literacy. Last week, we learned about the importance of running records for learning about students' reading skills and strategies. Okay, so we've taken the running record. So now what do we do? How do we take the data from the running records to plan for effective instruction for our students? Okay, at this point, before you do anything else, please go back and read the assigned text for this week. You're going to want to review chapter 1 in the text, paying close attention to figure 1.11, which are the elements of guided reading. You're also going to be reading chapter 5, planning for effective guided reading lessons. And what Fountas and Pinnell do is they walk you through this whole process, beginning with assessing the readers, which you have done through the running record. You've looked at the strengths and needs of the children in your class. And then you have grouped them accordingly. Step 2, you're going to select and analyze texts to make sure that you get an appropriate book for them to read. It's going to be at their instructional level. Guidelines for selecting texts are found on page 108 in figure 5.8. Please make sure that you read that. So you're selecting and analyzing the text. Step 3 is you're going to be introducing the text. And if you are taking the Developmental Literacy Lab 3041, please be listening carefully. When you introduce a text to a group of children, Fountas and Pinnell use very precise language. When the children all have their books at the table, you're going to say that you are going to preview this book before we read it. And preview is an academic language term which you can use with kindergartners rather than saying taking a picture walk. So please don't say that. Please use preview. Step 4, you're going to observe and interact as the children read the text individually. During that guided reading time, as you'll see in videos, that the teacher will start at different points, the children in the group reading. Not everyone is reading at the same time in that particular book, so that the teacher can lean in and listen to each child read individually. It seems very chaotic at first, but just as with running records, the more you practice it, the better you become. Please pay close attention to figure 5.18 on page 115. This is where the teacher is interacting with the student. Notice that precise language. Try that again and think what would make sense. That makes sense. Does Dad have some tomatoes in the picture? Would oven or stove make sense there? Were you right? Yes, you made it sound like you were talking. You made it make sense, and it looks right too. We never prompt the children to sound it out. That is not a prompt that Fountas and Pinnell use. And they are the gurus of guided reading. In fact, they have a prompting guide, part 1 and 2, that is a resource for teachers. And I would highly recommend it when you are in a classroom that you have that book on your professional shelf. Prompting Guide, Part 1 for Oral Reading. As I've said before, Fountas and Pinnell are the gurus of guided reading. When I was coaching teachers and when I was in the classroom teaching, guided reading, this text was my Bible. My first edition has Post-it notes stuck everywhere, highlighting everywhere. A word of caution. There are lots of guided reading videos on YouTube. Not all of those videos are good examples for you to follow. Just keep that in mind. You're going to look at Chapter 10, which is using assessment to form dynamic groups and document reading progress. Chapter 12 is creating a collection of texts to support literacy learning. And Chapter 13 is the F&P text gradient, a tool for teaching. Okay, at this point, you have read quite a bit about the format of the guided reading lesson, along with the research behind it. Many times I've worked with teachers who think that guided reading is only for emergent readers. Not true. It is an instructional practice that's used throughout elementary and even into middle school. The lesson focus and the text may be different, but the format is the same. So once you master the science of the guided reading lesson format and pair that with the art of listening to and interpreting your students' learning, you will see results quickly. Again, go back and review Figure 1.11 on page 30. Notice how Fountas and Pinnell explicitly state what both the child and the teacher should be doing before, during, and after reading. This week, you're going to be viewing guided reading lessons in action. Refer back to that chart often when analyzing these videos. This is a kindergarten guided reading lesson, and this is a grade 5 guided reading lesson. In supplemental resources is an additional guided reading video. Their text level descriptions, like characteristics of text at level A. What do they look like? What does reading at level A look like? And they do that through the levels. Your discussion forum this week. You're going to view one of those videos. Well, actually, you're going to view both of them. However, for your discussion forum, you're going to focus on one of those videos, either the grade 1 or the grade 5. And please identify at the beginning of your post which video that you are responding to. There are several things that you need to look for when you watch the video. What did you see the teacher do? Again, use Figure 1.11 on page 30 to help you. Explain the teaching strategies you observed. What reading techniques did you see the teacher prompt? How does she assist students? General reflections. What did you like or not like? What questions do you have? If you have questions about anything that we have covered thus far in developmental literacy, please post your questions under Ask the Instructor so that I can address them. Just remember, we are more than halfway through the course. You all are doing great, and I look forward to your discussion forum post this week. Thank you.